Hello, everyone. So today is episode 6 of the Kensui interviews, and today's special guest is the former world record holder for the most pull-ups in most consecutive pull-ups in 1 minute. And sorry, that's wrong. Most pull-ups in 1 minute, right? Not consecutive. So yeah,
Yeah,
you're allowed
yeah.
to take breaks in that minute if you want to. So yeah, so he was the former world record holder for that. And on Instagram, he's doing a lot of crazy pull-ups and pulling variations and front levers. What's more impressive is that I think you're 185, or like you're quite tall, 180, 185 centimeters, and I think he also weighs
Yeah.
around 180. So he's like a heavyweight in calisthenics, and he's also doing all of this in boots. And anyone who does front levers know that if you wear heavy shoes, it just makes it a lot more challenging. So he's very strong. And he also does some crazy workouts. Yesterday, I was lurking his story, and he let his followers choose whether he should do like 5 sets of 500 pull-ups
Bad
or
idea.
880 sets of 4 pull-ups, right? And I think they picked the harder one, obviously, because they like to torture you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you do the math, it's 3,520 pull-ups.
Well, no. So the math is a little wrong. I said 500 pull-ups in sets of 5 or 800 pull-ups in sets of 4. And so that it
Okay,
was just capped out at 5 or 800 pull-ups.
okay, but you ended up doing 800 pull-ups.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's still ridiculous. If you really think about it, like the average person, they go to the gym, they do like 3 sets of 10, and then they do 3 exercises for back. So that's 90 reps, and you basically did like 9 times more in one workout.
Yeah, it was
So
super
yeah,
boring.
he's a very crazy workouts. I mean, I've never done. I think the most I've done in one workout is like 330 reps. I mean, and
Of
I
pull-ups?
yeah, pull-ups. Yeah, I think I did like 3 sets, 3 rounds, sorry, of like five pull-ups 20 times every 30 seconds or something. So that's
Nice.
what I did. But obviously what you did is 3 times more, and obviously it gets progressively harder, right? Like the first 100 pull-ups are easy, and then like for me at least,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so the first time I did it, I did 1,000 just with like I wasn't timing it, wasn't really doing anything, and I was just like seeing how many I could do in however many sets. And so since I've been breaking it into sets, because I did 500, no, I did 1,000 in sets of 3, which wasn't too bad, and then I did 800 in sets of 4, and that was the most recent one that I did. It was like 2 days ago, and I'm still sore from that because it was way harder because you can't break form for those full 4 pull-ups, and it's all strict. So it's like timing your rest times between each set is ridiculous.
were you on like an interval, or were you just doing it whenever you felt like you were ready for the next set?
It was kind of both. Right now, I'm just in the testing phase, just to see how many I can do, and it's just listening to my body. I'm not really timing my rest times right now, but I'm trying to do like sub 1 minute for 10 reps, and however that breaks into, because it's obviously 4, so it would be like 12 pull-ups in like a minute and 15 seconds or something like that. And I don't know, I was trying to do the math, but I just tried to keep it 10 per minute as long as I could go.
Gotcha. Yes. I've done like 10 sets of 10, like every minute. But obviously, it's way different when you're doing it for longer time. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it
absolutely.
was, for me, I even talked about it before, but it's a very fun way to do like 100 pull-ups in like 10 minutes. So I think 10 by 10
Mhm.
was like a, yeah. But so what made you decide to do these crazy high volume kind of pull-ups? It's just like it's a very different way to train.
Kind of just to see if I can do it. I don't know where my body's at in regards to like a calculated amount of strength. So these high volume exercises allow you to kind of realize, okay, I can do 1,000 pull-ups in this amount of time, and that's a good benchmark for people who have elite strength. And so I'm just testing to see where my body is at right now. And it also, I mean, I've never done it, so it's a new realm for me. And as much as it kind of seems boring, and it is boring when I'm doing the 80 minutes 800 pull-ups or something like that, because I mean it's a long workout and it's just the same thing over and over. um, I enjoy seeing like how my body feels at uh, higher end volume training. So, and I've never done this before, so it's kind of cool to see like how much my body can take over time.
Yeah. Like,
That's really
how
why
are
I'm
your
doing
hands
it.
doing? How are your hands doing from that workout yesterday?
The hands. So that pull-up bar, you can actually see it right here. That has pads on it. So my pads or my skin from it's actually funny. Like the previous time I did it is worse because I did it on a metal bar without gloves, and since this has some padding on it, it made the pull-ups harder via muscle strength, but it was nicer on my skin. So it's weird. I'm learning a lot. Like, okay, the more pull-ups I do on like a soft padded thing, they get harder on my muscles, but my skin can take it longer. But if I'm doing pull-ups on a bar without gloves, my skin takes a beating, but it's easier because of the frictions there. So I don't know. It's weird. I'm learning a lot from this experience.
Yeah, but did you use the chalk when you were doing the high volume pull-ups?
Yeah, yeah, I use chalk.
Okay, but are you not a fan of like gloves? 'Cause, I mean, I've never done those crazy volumes, but I figured
So
that might help.
it's interesting. I bought 8 pairs of gloves off Amazon, like all different random, because I like wearing gloves, but I also don't because I like building calluses, and so I kind of keep it a little bit of both. But I bought 8 pairs of gloves to kind of test which pair of gloves I like the most. And some of the gloves aren't even gloves; they're just finger holes with like a rubber pad that goes underneath. And those are actually the ones I'm leaning towards more.
You're
Those
talking
those
about
are
like the gymnastic style straps, right?
no. So those gymnastic style straps are like a piece of leather, right?
Yeah, yeah.
These ones I've never seen before. Again, I was just browsing Amazon. They slip over your fingers, like they have little finger loops, and then on the bottom is like a pad that's like a circular or
Oh, like
oval shaped
neoprene.
pad, but it's like a dense piece of rubber, and it just the friction's there on the bar, and they seem to last. Plus, when I wear gloves, my hands get sweaty for that amount of pull-ups, and it starts literally just rubbing my skin off. No matter how much stress I'm putting on it, just starts to rub them off because the more moisture gets in to the glove, the weaker your skin gets, and the more it rubs off. So they're healing up nicely now. But yeah, I having that pad there allows air to get in, and so I try to keep my hands semi-dry throughout the high volume.
Yeah, actually,
But
the benefit of this being a video interview is you can just show us the pads, right? I'm assuming you have it in your
oh
room.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's actually outside in the shed. Do you want me to go grab it?
Uh, no, it's fine. Maybe it's in that
Yeah,
case,
it'll
then. I
take
assumed
like
it
a few
would be right
minutes.
next to your pull-up bar.
Oh no, I put everything outside because I'm building an outdoor gym. So
Okay.
I built this big shed and all my gear's in there now.
So all the most of the footages on your Instagram, is that just outside, like where you live, or is that like a gym or something outdoors?
So some of it's on base because I'm still in the reserves for the Marine Corps. So anything you see on uniform, I'm doing it on base. But yeah, I built like a Ninja Warrior rig out in the backyard, and I have a couple other weird. I think I have like 6 or 7 pull-up bars total at my house. So it's just testing. Like I have like the TRX systems where they have like the suspension training.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of those to see how those work over a stable bar, and it's just to test different things. Like when I recommend people do pull-ups, I recommend they don't even use a bar. You should just use a straight flat ledge. And that's just where I
Wait,
recommend.
when people do pull-ups, you recommend them to use a ledge instead of an actual
Yeah, like
bar.
a one or a 1.5 inch ledge. I know it's a weird measurement, but it's just whatever feels natural for your hands to sit on, and usually that's between that range. But yeah, it works. So whenever I tell anybody to train upper body, I always start with the fingers first, and then work your way down your forearm, and then to your lats, and build the bigger muscles. Because if your hands are the thing that's failing in pull up strength, then everything else is going to fail. It all works as a chain. So grabbing onto that ledge. So if I grab onto a bar, I'm using this part of my hand, right? And all these, I don't know, deep flexor muscles. But if I use a ledge, I'm using this pulley system that works out a totally not completely different muscle group, but it hits all these different tiny muscles that develop over time. And that's where I get a lot of my strength from is ledge training and like rock climbing exercises.
Gotcha. Yeah, I read somewhere that you started off with rock climbing. Is that correct? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
cool.
mean, I started off just doing different sports. Like nothing that really. I just tried every sport. I like playing sports. I like being an athlete. Like
What
I
kind of
played.
sport did you do?
The longest sport I played was actually water polo,
Okay.
and I played that for 2 years. Um, and then well, I wouldn't say that. I played that was the longest sport in high school that I played, but I played baseball for like 5 years, and then soccer for a few years. I just bounced around from sport to sport just because I liked the way it felt to be an athlete, and that kind of transitioned into me being an athlete. And I mean, it's just in general athleticism, and then it transitioned into me joining the Marine Corps and being an athlete for the Marine Corps as well.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the water polo actually helped a lot with your pull-ups, 'cause I'm a swimmer as well, and, I mean,
Oh,
I
nice.
dabbled a little with water polo, but I just for me, I just, I was just a better swimmer, but, I think water polo is like 50% swimming, 50%, like, handling the ball.
Hmm.
But yeah, swimming's, all lats, so I think it translates a lot, like,
Plus, it's really healthy for your body to swim. Like,
definitely,
it's not a lot of resistance, but it's just enough, and it's more of an endurance thing. And so it's definitely healthy for your. That's why you see a lot of older people swimming a lot, because it keeps them, it's a style of resistance training. But yeah, over years of doing it, you definitely benefit in your lats from it. But it's funny though, because I wouldn't think that just swimming would be a good transition into pull-up strength, but it definitely does help though.
yeah, I mean, it's all lats, like, if you do the proper technique, like, you're supposed to use your bigger muscles, so it ends up being, like, a lot of core and lats for swimming.
Yeah,
You kind of
for
just use
sure.
your hand as like a lever, like, you don't really use your arm muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I still like to swim sometimes because I think it's like a good recovery for pull-ups. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
active
That's what
recovery.
I'm saying, is it's a good compliment for sure.
Yeah, because you can do like running, but it's not, if you're sore after doing a heavy pull-up workout, I feel like swimming really helps you kind of get the blood flow in that area and
Yeah.
yeah, heal faster. I mean, another thing I do if I don't have a pool is I like to do like very high reps on the lat pull down. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but
So I have recently, because of the whole volume training,
yeah.
but I tend to do that as an active recovery. So very, very lightweight and
Yeah, that's what I meant, like
very, very.
reps of, like, 20 to 30, I just put, like, 70 or 80 pounds and,
See, like, even that, like, that's for me, that's heavy. I'm
okay,
doing like 50 to 100 reps of a lighter weight, just to. I'm again, I don't recommend this style of training or anything like that. It's just an experimentation of my own body to see, how it translates, and because it goes against everything that I've been learning in kinesiology for strength training. For strength training, you want like low rep, powerful movements, and I'm just trying to see the contrast between, because there's a lot of genetic variability when you add. I don't know how somebody else responds to a certain stimulus, so I'm just seeing how I respond to higher volume training, not necessarily endurance training, but like higher volume.
yeah. So
So
when
it's
when you do these, like, crazy high volume workouts like you did yesterday, like, how many days rest do you take?
anywhere from 2 to 3. I think
Okay,
2 minimum is good, especially for the amount of volume. Just because, I mean, there's no benefit to forcing myself into uh, an overtraining situation, because the risk of injury is so much higher. Like, I give my body like 2 to 3 days of rest, so I can perform the next time I do it.
yeah, to be honest, I'm surprised, I thought you would need more than 2 or 3 days after doing, like, that many reps.
No,
Yeah, but
I,
I
I
can see
mean,
that.
I'm very conditioned for this sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, average person who can do, I mean, they'd be sore, like, it's doing leg day after you've done leg day for like a month, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
a couple squats, you'll be sore for like a week. But obviously, as more conditioned the individual is, then the less rest time you'll need.
Yeah, it's true. And what about, like, like, pushing and legs? Do you also do a lot of that, or is, like, what percent of your workouts are
It's
volume
funny,
based?
I consider myself pretty strong when it comes to legs. I like running a lot more, like sprinting shorter distances. I've done a couple half marathons, but I mean, I can deadlift over 500 pounds. So, but a lot of people don't know that. And for my body weight, and for me, for not predominantly, you know, being known as a leg strength person, a lot of people just assume that I don't have strong legs because I can do a lot of upper body stuff. And that's, I mean, if you're in the calisthenics industry, that's what everyone assumes. They go, first comment on my Instagram is always like, never skip leg day or something like that. Because I mean, they just say that because they, in order for them to rationalize the upper body strength that somebody has, if it's like an elite level, they have to bring you down to reality, which is, oh, he must not do legs. But yeah, I would consider myself pretty above average when it comes to leg strength. I'm not breaking any world records for strength when it comes to legs. I'm not squatting over 100 pounds, but I mean, I can squat like 350. I can deadlift over 500 pounds, and that's good for me, and it helps me. It keeps me like in check, and it keeps a nice healthy balance when it comes to, one, if anybody ever brings that shit up, and two, just I feel like your body works in symmetry, so it likes to have a stronger foundation in its legs, and so I try to keep that in check as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, 500 pounds is a lot. Uh, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
but you know what what I think about calisthenics is if you're really a specialist, like you know, obviously if you want to train legs, you should, but you shouldn't train legs just to appease the people that the
no,
haters.
absolutely
You know?
not.
And I think a lot of people do fall into that category, and they could be even better calisthenics athletes. Especially for like statics, like you really don't want to have unnecessary muscle mass where it's not going to help you, right?
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean, it depends. It all depends on specific goals. Like,
yeah,
what's your
yeah,
goal?
for sure.
And yeah, I mean, my goal is to do a lot of pull-ups in a short amount of time. But I whatever makes you feel. There's a lot of mental aspect to this as well. Whatever makes you feel like you're strong and makes you feel like an athlete, do that. And if that means doing legs once in a while just to make your body feel strong, then it's not going to hold you back that much to do like I love deadlifting, and it transitions into grip strength, and like I don't use straps when I do lifting or anything like that, because I want the strength to transition into grip strength and pull strength. But it makes me feel like an athlete when I do that. Like if I can pick 500 pounds off the ground, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm strong as fuck. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I feel like there's a big mental aspect to it as well. And if it makes you feel good, do it. And if it's not holding you back too much, because again, I'm not going for any squat records, but it makes me feel good to do squats once in a while. Just that's how I train.
Yeah, I agree. Deadlifts, like when I do it, I feel super alpha. Like it feels like I don't do
Exactly.
500 pounds, even like 300 pounds. Like when I do it, I just feel really cool. So
Yeah, man. I feel more, as you say, alpha deadlifting over 500 pounds than I do doing 800 pull-ups in 80 minutes. But I like doing pull-ups, and I want to push. That's definitely my strength when it comes to how I stand out from the crowd. But mentally, it makes me feel good to be able to pull that sort of weight off the ground, and that transitions directly into me being able to push myself mentally in pull-ups as well.
yeah, so do you actually train? Like, do you have a like specific leg day, like once a week or twice a week or something, or you kind of
No,
just on the
I
side?
a lot of my workouts, like I gotta have fun when I'm doing it, and which means like I know I'm rested and I'm recovered, then I kind of just smorgasbord it, which means do whatever I feel is good that day because I just wanted to, and I feel like some a big CrossFitter said this. I don't know who Rich Froning is. I kind of consider myself a lot like him when it comes to designing workouts because you rough sketch it, like you write a draft, and I don't write it down. I just know I've been doing it for a while. So like you write a rough sketch, and you throw darts at that. And I don't like having a specific like do this, do this, do this because if I complete it, then I don't feel like it was a tough enough workout. But if I overshoot it, I don't feel like I performed well enough. I don't know if that makes any sense, but to me it does. I just like I don't like having a strict like do this many reps, whatever. And that's me personally. I've been doing it long enough to know that that's what I don't like.
Gotcha. Yeah, but I also think the more advanced you are, the more you can kind of auto regulate and listen to your own body because
Oh
you
yeah,
actually have more experience,
absolutely.
right? Like, so for a beginner, maybe they should be on a more periodized program.
Absolutely, man. I don't this is specific to me. Like
Yeah,
again, the 800 pull-ups specific to me. Like once you get to that elite realm of strength, like you start experimenting with stuff because that's what you're supposed to do. That's why PhDs study specific scientific research because they're supposed to be an expert in that one thing. So, if my expertise is an elite level of fitness, I'm going to start experimenting in things that a lot of people haven't done before and there isn't a lot of research to back up. Like it's your responsibility as an elite athlete to kind of experiment and see how far you can go in certain areas if that's what you're into. That's what I like doing. I like seeing how far I can push my body and the things that I know I'm strong at. But definitely, if you're a beginner, stick to a routine. Get and I would say stabilization factors out of the way first. Make sure your body's healthy and ready to perform, and then start dabbling in some cooler stuff.
Uh, so you're doing these super high volume workouts, and I guess one thing I'm wondering is like, are you trying to go for like a world record for like the most pull ups in 24 hours? Is that one of your or
That's
something
on the
like that?
list. Yeah.
Okay.
I already know I can beat it. It's just by how much. I'm trying to go for an absurd number, like 10,000 plus in 24 hours. And again, it's just an experimentation thing. Like that's my number that I have stuck in my head. But every time I've done like a 500 pull-ups, I just do 1,000 because my body says, okay, yeah, 500 was pretty easy. Do 1,000 more. But I don't want to like overdo it and develop. Biggest thing is I want to avoid tendonitis and injury, and especially with high volume workouts, like that starts playing a role in those things, injury prevention methods. And so, but yeah, it's definitely on my list to attempt a couple world records. I feel like it's that responsibility. It doesn't matter if people beat you, it doesn't matter whatever. You should be still pushing the envelope. So
Yeah, that 10,000 is a lot. I think the world record is around 6,000, right?
it's like 7,600. Not that I
Oh, it's
know.
gone up. Okay, because I think the what's a really famous guy, the motivational speaker?
David Goggins.
Yeah, he had the world record for a bit, and then I think someone recently broke it, right? But I didn't know it was by
Yeah,
that much.
well, the funny thing is, like, by popularity, everyone thinks that David Goggins has it. Like, I think the guy's badass. I like him. I respect him. But like, the dude did like 4,300 pull-ups in a day, and I think that was his record, or like 4,600. And somebody slaughtered that by like 3,000. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's like that's awesome that he did it. And again, it's like breaking the 4 minute mile. Like, what is it? 4 minute mile. It's like everyone thought it was impossible, and so one person did it, and then once that one person did it, everybody started doing it. So again, it's that mental aspect that everyone's like, oh man. That's why one of my mottos is make other people's impossible your warm up, because if you can make it like super easy, then people have this like crazy change mentally. It's like if you could do that easily, and I used to think that was impossible, then maybe I have the potential to do it or something similar.
So I guess the goal is to make 7,000 reps your warm up, and then you'll be able to do 10,000.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm kind of doing with 1,000. Like 1,000 pull-ups is technically my warm-up because I felt good after it. Like that's where I want to be, and that's the goal. And I'm on a journey to get there right now. Until like 500 pull-ups, not really anything anymore. But 1,000, I start feeling it around there, especially when I'm pacing myself at a certain rate. And again, I'm just throwing darts to the dartboard. Like it's all experimentation right now
So
because there's
when you
no what's up.
when you did the 800 pull-ups yesterday, you didn't feel like completely done afterwards. You kind of just felt like, oh, okay, that was like I got more in me, but I'll just. And
Well, so that was the first time I had ever done 4 sets of 4, and
yeah,
I mean, that was pretty brutal. I'm not gonna lie. Like for sets of 4 for that pace was because it was sub 80 minutes, so 10 pull-ups a minute for 80 minutes at sets of 4. Like it's different because if I was doing sets of 3, I could do that up to 1,000 and probably not feel it. But I'm just testing the pacing right now and seeing and if it's a little harder, that's fine. We're in training, so
yeah.
the training's a little harder. But when it comes, race day, or if I go for this world record, or when I go for this world record, that you want it to feel kind of like a casual jog the whole time.
Yeah, because I think like what I've noticed when I was doing like the high volume pull-ups is once you start feeling a little bit of fatigue and like the lactic acid buildup, then it's kind of like over. Like you want to be in that state where like you feel no lactic acid. At least
Yeah,
when I'm doing
exactly.
like
So
hundreds.
yeah, and there's a certain thing called lactic acid threshold where if you can kind of and you every time you work out, you push that threshold a little bit further. So if you can meet that threshold and then recover within whatever how much recovery time, or I'm just feeling it out right now, and
Yeah.
then meet that threshold, then you're not producing that lactic acid as much to the point where you're starting to feel pain. So you kind of want to teeter on that, and then every time it goes up a little bit, and you can push a little bit more each time. So that's where I'm pushing it right now. Is just to my threshold.
And I think I read somewhere that like those I don't know if it's David Goggins or the other guy, but they're saying like the biggest limiting factor for them to do the 24-hour records was like just like their hands, like it'd just be completely beaten up.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
that's a factor that you can control to a certain point. And again, if I was wearing gloves the whole time, if I do 500 wearing gloves, my skin falls off. If I do 1,000 with like that weird glove thing that I was telling you about,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel too bad, but my skin does still start to come off. So it's just figuring out how to soften the grip, how to, because you can wear gloves during the record. That's what everyone
Okay.
does.
I don't know what the rules are, but so you're
Yeah,
allowed
you
to
can wear gloves and whatnot, but
yeah.
it's just, I mean, however you can manipulate it in your favor, then I would recommend doing that. That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I have 8 pairs of gloves. I'm trying to do like a set of 500 with each pair of gloves just to see how it feels. And so I'm only like 2 pairs of gloves in right now.
I'm surprised. So you did it with the 800 reps with this door pull-up bar that you have here.
Yeah, at one point I thought it was gonna break, but
Yeah, because one thing I've noticed about at least when I use the door pull-up bar, like I don't drop down as fast because I feel like I'm gonna break the door. And when you're doing high reps,
uh
it's nice to kind of drop down because then that way you kind of get like the reflex to come back up, right?
yeah, exactly. I mean, muscle extension allows you to have like its full potential. I think muscles perform best at like 130% stretched out or something like that. But that pull-up bar, luckily, you can see the bottom of it, but it's one of those ones that like S curves up. So really you grab on up here and it allows me to stand up completely grabbing onto it, which a lot of door pull-up bars, you have to kind of like bend your legs. And
Oh, I see. Gotcha. So
yeah,
it's
so
kind of like two bars, like the one above the door
exactly.
and one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've never had one of
I think
those,
I
but
can hang
I
on,
just.
do that. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, cool. Nice. All right. Let me quickly look at the list of questions. I just want to make sure I don't leave any of it out.
Hey, you're good, man.
So we cardio is a question that I want to bring up. So do you like I obviously we talked about swimming a little bit, but and I guess in the Marines I'm assuming that they make you run or
Oh,
pretty common
absolutely.
to run, right?
Yeah, they have their PFT every year, and it's a 3 mile run, and you're supposed to do it in 18 minutes to max it out. I get pretty close each time, so I try to keep my cardio balanced. Again, it's that whole uh, total athlete mindset. So I deadlift, I squat, I run. I do. I don't. I would do above average in every category, but I definitely spike in the pull up realm. So yeah, I definitely do cardio though.
Do you have like a general like idea of how many kilometers or miles you run per week?
No, I it's incorporated into my leg days. So cardio for me is just heart rate elevation, keeping my heart rate up the entire time, and very little rest time. So you can call it hit training, you can call it whatever you want, but it's just elevated heart rate as long as you can. And I'll do like heavy deadlifts for 3 sets. I'll do box jumps. I'll do side strafe with elastic bands. I'll do treadmill runs. Just anything to keep my mind not bored out of my mind. So um, yeah, that's where
Right.
I'm at.
So a little bit more interesting than running, because I guess you find running kind of boring. So you're like,
Can
let's do
can you
something.
give me 1 second, man?
Yeah, yeah, no
I'm
worries.
1 second, 1 second. Sorry, man. I had a bunch of fitness equipment being delivered to my house, and if I missed that call, which I knew was gonna come, I was hoping it would be after the interview. But if I if I missed that call, they wouldn't have delivered it today. So I just needed to make sure I said what's up.
Okay, so it's on the way. So you're
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah. Should be here in
perfect.
an hour. Speaking of
Cool.
cardio, it's an assault bike and a assault treadmill. So
Oh, okay. So I guess it'll be for your cardio. Yeah,
exactly. So good timing.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. Injuries. So I'm assuming that I saw one of your posts that you said you had like a wrist injury, but yeah. So let's.
Yeah. Yeah. So 3 days before coming off active duty, I went to this Ninja Warrior competition because I had been on the show twice. So I was like, let me try for it again. And I was warming up. I felt invincible. I went on this like obstacle that was like 10 to, I think it was like 12 to 14 feet in the air. And I didn't check to see if there was a pad below me. I didn't check anything. And I wrenched this obstacle to the side in a way that you weren't supposed to do. And I slipped off of it and I fell that distance onto some concrete because there was no pad. And the first thing to hit was my wrist. So it smushed my wrist inwards that way. And yeah, so I snapped my wrist, had a couple of surgeries. Long story short, I was told that I wouldn't have the same grip strength again, and here I am. But I'm even stronger now, so
It-
that's kind of it's kind of the gist of it.
yeah. Is both your wrists or just one?
Just one.
Okay.
I was kind of fortunate that it was my left wrist too, which is my non-dominant hand.
Okay.
But it's just made the contrast. My right hand is way stronger than my left hand, but my left hand, I would say, is as strong as my right hand was when I broke my wrist. If that makes sense.
And that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2017.
So does it hurt when you do pull-ups or only for like other exercises?
It does. These high volume training exercises have been kind of poking at me a little bit. I definitely, because high volume anything, you'll start to develop like, you'll start to see where your weak spots are, because it's like the first thing to go would be your grip strength or your lats or whatever, right? And then everything else has to start to overcompensate. And so definitely my wrist is starting to flare up a little bit, but um I try to keep my pull-ups true form the entire time, so that plays into how my body feels and the pacing of everything, and trying. I know it's strengthening it in the long run, but I do have to watch it because it flares up every once in a while. I don't know if you see my Instagram stories where like if I get pumped in my wrist after like rock climbing or something, it there's a lot of negative space in between here. You can kind of see it. Yeah, scar goes all the way up from my palm to there you go. But there's negative space right here, and when it gets pumped out, it like sticks out to like I don't know, an inch or 2 inches out, and it really grosses everybody out. But I look at it as a constant reminder of we're all gonna freaking die, so I might as well push the limits while I have the chance.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's good that you can still do pull-ups without it like being like a major issue. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. I
seems like you're still
I
like
notice it a lot when I deadlift really heavy. Like I have to wear a wrist brace when I deadlift really heavy.
but you don't even use straps when you deadlift, right? You're still just
No, no, it's strictly just a so when you because of this injury, you have two bones that run right here. They had to cut the tendon in my palm on the second surgery, which was the anchor point for those tendons, and that kind of like anchors those bones in place. So whenever I'm lifting really heavy, the bones want to do this and spread apart, and it doesn't feel very good when that happens. So as I'm pulling, I need to wear a brace to keep those bones in place, and that's the only thing I wear when I'm lifting really heavy is a wrist, like kind of like a clamp.
gotcha. And have you had any other injuries? Maybe not as major as this, but
I did have it was weird, this tendon armpit inflammation like a year ago, and it was to the point where it was so painful that I thought I would never do pull-ups again. And I was like, man, I need to find a new sport because even doing one, it felt like my arms are gonna rip out of the sockets, and I just stopped doing like any upper body training for probably 3 or 4 months, and it just went away. So I think it was like pinched nerves or something like that, but or I don't know what it was, but it went away, and it was just kind of like resting and hoping for the best.
gotcha. Yeah, I had something like every time I do a pull up, like even just one rep, I'd get this really sharp pain in my lats. But I think it's different. Like you make it sound like it was a bit different.
Yeah, I mean it's probably I mean there's a lot of nerves that run down your arm to your back, and so the learning experience I had from that and the wrist injury is injury prevention is going to excel your training in the long run, because I mean you can sprint full force and then trip and screw your knee up, and then you're gonna have to be out for 6 months and then start even way further back than when you before you fell in the first place. So the most you can do for yourself is prevent injury and listen to your body and just try to be smart when you train.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think I've talked to a bunch of people, and we all, especially the older people get, like people that realize that the injury
Oh
prevention
yeah.
is very important. Because if you want to improve, you got to be able to stay in the game, and if you get injured, then
Yeah.
you're out for 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, if are you what's your age?
I'm 30.
30. Okay. Yeah, I think Side Monster is the same age. Like I recently had a talk with him, and we were talking about stuff like this. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, that dude's a beast. I've
yeah,
seen some of his videos.
yeah, super nice dude too. Like
He I think what I admire about him is his mobility. Like he's very mobile. Like he can do like back handsprings, almost all fours touching the ground and whatnot. Like his mobility is pretty impressive.
yeah, I think there's the one where he does like the handstand where he like kind of folds up.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, and it's super hard to do. Like people. I don't know if anybody ever said, "Oh, I definitely can do something like that," or at least get close. Nah, I personally I can't get that close. I'm pretty muscle bound from all the pull-ups, and I don't spend as much time stretching as I probably should. It's just a personal weakness of mine, and I'm
I think
trying to
it's like
overcome it.
99%
But
99% of us that have that weakness.
yeah, exactly. So, um, yeah, I just trying to overcome that a little bit each day.
Yeah, but sometimes it's hard to tell like how impressive something is if you're so far away from it. Like because
Yeah.
it doesn't really register. So like I think I have a little bit of that with his stuff. Like I can barely hold a handstand. So like all the other stuff he does, like it barely even registers like how hard it might actually be.
Yeah, exactly.
So next question I have here is regarding your diet. Do you have any sort of like a eating schedule or diet?
Uh, no. Um, I've tracked my calories enough to know that my like maintenance calories are probably around 3,000 to 3,300 per day, and I try to keep more predominantly protein in my diet than anything else. But carbohydrates are probably 50%. So I would say anywhere between 40 to 50% carbs, 40 to 30% protein, and then the rest are fats. I eat very minimal
You do
fats.
like you do count the macros,
I used to, but I don't anymore.
and now you kind of just eyeball it, or like you have a sense.
Yeah.
What's right? Okay.
Like last night I ate 4 slices of a Papa John's pizza, and it was so good. So,
Okay.
you know, I turned off my calorie counter for that one.
I mean, I think you deserve that after 800 steps.
Thanks, man.
And what about supplements?
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I take the Performix stuff. I'm an athlete for them, and they have a pretty high quality protein and whatnot. But for me, it's just protein and pre-workout. That's pretty much it. Nothing crazy.
No creatine.
Oh yeah, yeah, creatine. I take creatine in the morning.
Okay. You see, yeah, see, everyone that I've interviewed takes
I forget about that.
like the secret supplement.
Well, it's just I mean, through studying kinesiology, the first thing they talk about is creatine as being like an amazing supplement. And I mean, you can find it naturally in meat, but the benefits are so good. And there's people say that there's side effects of it, but I think you would have to like be eating half a pound a day to see them. So, but I'm not a nutrition expert.
Yeah. Now the reason I don't take creatine is for the like there's like studies that show that it increases your DHT, which is like could be related to hair loss, and then I think it also might not be
Mm,
the best for your kidneys. And I have like bad kidneys kind of running my family, so I was told to avoid.
yeah, dude.
So
If your kidneys can't handle it, man, don't take it.
so next question I have is something that is underrated. Whether it be a fitness product, a fitness routine, accessory exercise that has greatly helped you in getting stronger.
A fitness product, like,
No,
or
yeah, yeah. Well, it can be a product, a routine, accessory, just anything. Like a very broad question.
mm, mentality wise, I legitimately, so I had my best friend the same week I broke my wrist. I had my best friend commit suicide, and he was supposed to like open a gym with me and do all this crazy stuff. And I used to work out with him all the time in Japan, and he was my training partner. And I lost a lot of myself that day when that happened. And but it taught me a lesson that we're all gonna die. Life is very fragile, and we only have this one chance right now to make an impact. At least our little we're all little explosions on the earth in a positive way, and I want to leave a pretty decent chunk when I exit. But yeah, it just taught me how fragile life was, and we're all gonna die, and I feel like we should all try our best to be a positive influence, and so that keeps me going for sure mentally, and definitely physically. I would say a lot of people. So I haven't been necessarily adding weight to my routine, but one thing that helped me get stronger was here's a little plug for you too. This is legitimately though, weight vests. Like I would wear them, I'd use them, and just a little bit of extra weight, even on like I don't know, 100 pull-ups with 10 pounds added. Promise you're gonna feel it. And so that kind of like puts you over the edge. If let's say you don't have 80 minutes to work out or do 800 pull-ups, then cut the reps into 100 reps, but add a little bit of weight. You can almost get the same benefit, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's interesting concept. Like I like doing the kind of micro load. Like when I told you I was doing the 10 sets of 10, uh, like I would do like one round with like just plus 10 pounds, and then another one with like plus 20 pounds, but like not like nothing more than that, or like or maybe 30 pounds, but that was it. Like because I think a lot of people like they try to add too much weight, and then they really sacrifice
Hmm.
form, and their volume goes down because it's too much weight. But if it's just a little bit, like it could be yeah, because most people don't really do like micro loading for weighted calisthenics, right? It's like if you're gonna add weight, might as well add like 20 kilos or 40 kilos instead of just like
Yeah, and I
about
mean,
5 kilos.
again, it comes to the athlete thing too. People want to pull 200 pounds attached to them when they're doing a pull up because it's cool and it's
Yeah, yeah,
fun.
for sure.
But is that necessarily the best idea? Maybe not. That's how I tore a little bit of my lat. So we all learn in our own way. But I definitely say that adding resistance to training is huge because I know there's a lot of people out there that are like strict calisthenics, strict body weight, don't add weight, and then once they hit that plateau of like, okay, I'm getting bored from just using my body weight. I would say like 90% of people, of especially the elite strength, they switch over to adding weight into their routine as well because that's the law of progressive overload. You add a little bit of overload to your training and your body adapts to it. That's just the way it works.
Yeah, it's also just a great way to keep things exciting. And I think one thing that you like is to really like keep your workouts fun. Maybe that's one of your secrets
Oh,
to
absolutely.
being consistent and having all that progress.
Yeah.
Let's see. Motivation. Is there like who do you look up to?
You want to see who I look up to? So I got two of these guys right here. You might think I'm a weirdo, but whatever. I don't care. This guy right here,
All
right?
right.
And I got one more. This guy right here. You know who these guys are?
Yeah, that's is that the One Punch Man on the left?
Hey, you got it. His name's
And,
Saitama.
I guess this guy is this Goku, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So growing up, I never had like a role model. I still don't necessarily like watching sports. I don't know, and was never into it or anything like that. Like I like watching the competition aspect of sports. Like I'll watch the finals or whatever it is. Doesn't matter what sport it is. Like I love watching it. I love being, you know, in tune with it. I don't like the build up to. I don't know the players' names. I don't know all this stuff unless they're like a prodigy or something like that. But growing up though, I did watch Dragon Ball Z, and Goku, I don't know what it is. Like he had this overwhelming strength that it didn't have a limit on it, and I don't know, I felt that because the dude he rose to the occasion no matter how impossible it seemed, and I thought that was really cool and something that I can apply to my own life, even though it's a cartoon. And yeah, I think that's doesn't matter who your superheroes are, just try to take the best out of what they give to you and use it to your advantage. So those are my guys.
Yeah, I find that a lot of people in calisthenics really look up to these two. Like I'm not sure
Yeah,
what these two have to do with calisthenics, but it seems like they it's really popular.
I mean, it's probably deep rooted in the physical fitness of these guys. I mean, they're the ones pushing the limits of the human ability, and I think it's just badass. Even though it is a cartoon, and some of those cartoons are badass, whatever, like whatever floats your boat, man.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you have what is your best moment or memory from all your training?
So I'm gonna kind of flip this question a little bit because I don't necessarily have a best moment or a best part, and it's something that I've learned, uh, and I'm still learning because I've I've been training as like a well-rounded athlete my whole life, and I've always had this ambition to want to push myself a little bit further into anything, and I happen to be really good at pull-ups, so that's what I went in. But the first time I broke the world record for pull-ups, I did it on accident. Like somebody bet me how many pull-ups I could do, and then I wound up breaking the world record. And then when I actually did break the world record, both times I did it, I never tried. I never committed myself to like, I'm gonna be the world record holder. I'm gonna freaking go for it. I'm gonna see how much I can. Like, if I focus all of my training into this, then we'll see where I'm at. And so when I broke the world record, both times it was very ungratifying. Like I wasn't impressed with myself. I wasn't like, oh man, I'm the record holder. Let me like, I'm really impressed. It was because I never really tried as hard as I could, so I wasn't putting that much effort into it. So I couldn't really bask in the reward of getting the record or beating the record, just because again, it's just my mindset. Like if I don't try that hard and I get something, it's not as fulfilling as when I try really hard and it, you know, I either fail and I learn a lot, or I I, I succeed and I'm like, hell yeah, I freaking did that and I tried really hard to do it. I don't know. It's kind of like a reverse psychology, but I'm really trying now, and so we'll see where that gets me.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely appreciate things you work harder to get. I mean, that's just I think
Yeah,
human nature. So you got the 50 pull-ups just without any like specific training for it. That's
it was just. I mean, I did a little bit more, maybe a little bit more. Like, okay, today I'm gonna do 2 sets more of pull-ups than 3, and that was all I did. And I went to it, and I'll say that there is like a little bit of a psychological barrier to me. I have a fear of failure. I think everyone does, especially at the elite strength. So if I don't try as hard and I fail, then I can blame it on not trying as hard. But if I try really hard and fail, then it's all my fault. And that's where I've kind of flipped my mindset into, no, I need to go 100%. I need to be accountable for my efforts and see. I'm holding myself back, and I'm really holding anybody who watches me back by not trying as hard as I can. And I think it's important to do so. And it's a I think it's a bit of laziness too, because sometimes I just don't want to try that hard. And you can still win and not try hard. That's a battle within yourself. Like you got to overcome that, because it's like, no, it's like you playing your friend or something like that in basketball, and he sucks at basketball and you're really good. Are you going to play with your left hand, or are you going to slam and dunk on this dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously there's social cues and you don't want to like upset your friend, but that's, probably a terrible example. I'm just saying, are you going to win it with the best of your ability and then actually be proud of yourself, or are you going to, you know keep facing lower end opponents and just keep winning and not feeling good about it? I don't know, that's weird. I went off on a rabbit
yeah.
hole there.
It did get on quite a tangent. I thought you were gonna say something like, "Oh, but I got my first one arm pull up" or something like.
Nope.
No, no. Yeah. Right. So regarding one arm pull ups, like, is that something you do for your training or not really?
No. uh it's just a byproduct of doing so many pull-ups. Try them once in a while just to see. They're applicable to rock climbing, so I am a rock climber. I've run rock climbing for like 12 years now, and pulling up on with one arm does help you become a better rock climber, because you run into situations where you can't use both arms and the hold is so small that all you can do is pull with one. So that's really the functional aspect of why I would like to be better at one arm pull-ups, but I don't necessarily care too much.
So how many times a week do you do rock climbing? Like, it must be hard to do both calisthenics and rock climbing, because like if you're sore from one, then you got to do the next one. Like,
Kind of. I'm not trying to like run and gun every time I go rock climbing. Rock climbing is a great active recovery because it gets your whole body moving. Doesn't matter what you did at the weight room, doesn't matter how sore you are. It's the most functional active recovery you can do. Like the other day, I was so sore after doing those pull-ups, but I went and rock climbed for like 45 minutes, super light, staying on easy routes, and the next day I was less sore because it's proven that if you move and you recover properly, it's a better method of recovery than just staying in your bed.
Okay. Oh, so because when I think of rock climb, I think of like the ones where people are doing and they're like really trying and then they fail and that's why you and then they get pulled down. So yours more like
Oh, no, no. Yeah, yeah. The gym I go to is only bouldering, which is just low to the ground. It's like 15 feet max, and yeah,
I think aren't those hard as well? Like I mean I've done
they
I
can be,
I'm
but
scared
they
of
can
heights.
be really easy as well.
Okay.
So like there's a grading scale. It's called the V scale, and if you're climbing a V1 and you've been climbing for 12 years and you can't climb a V1 easily, then you probably need to find a new sport or train differently. But I mean, I can climb all the way up to probably like V4, V5, really easily. It feels like you're basically walking on the ground. But it's just because I've been doing it for so long.
Do you do any competitions for rock climbing?
I used to, but being a heavier set guy, like those rock climbers, I'm going against people who weigh like 130 and they're just one big long spindly tendon. And like it's weird because they don't have the muscle mass I do, but they have the tendon strength, which is a lot of rock climbing ability comes from tendon strength. And so I just can't compete with those guys. And so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I, I
I've
kind
seen
of
those rock
filtered
climbers.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're
it's awesome. And I
yeah.
mean, I had a desire to, but I got to pick my battles. And if I'm going to have muscle mass to a certain point, then I'm probably not going to like Magnus Mitbo, if you know who that is. Dude's my like climbing idol, freaking beast mode guy. And the guy weighs like 150, but I think that has a lot to do with why he climbs so strong as well.
And he's super they're all like super shredded too. Like
Yeah.
even the girls, like the back when you see their backs when they're rock climbing, it's like scary. Like how
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, just super shredded. It all comes down to poor nutrition as well. A lot of climbers don't eat right.
Oh really?
Yeah, they basically are just homeless people who climb on walls.
Okay. I guess it makes them better at rock climbing, so like maybe it's like a
Yeah.
good thing that you eat for. Yeah. And what about the Ninja Warrior? Do you still do that or did you kind of stop after the wrist injury?
I definitely stopped after the wrist injury, but I just I'm not really interested in it anymore. It was a thing I did. I wanted to do it. I did it. I made it to the finals both times. It was really fun. But yeah, I again, you got to keep it interesting and what you want to do. And I'm not just trying to be on Ninja Warrior to impress people, like and I don't know, do that. But I just don't have the interest to do it right now. So I'm
Yeah.
putting my focus in other things.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the benefits of just doing like body weight pull-ups. It's I mean yeah, you could injure yourself like, but it's not going to be like any crazy like life threatening or permanent injury. I think it's just going to be like oh, you like maybe tweak your lat.
Yeah, and I mean, I learn a lot, and I think you have to give stuff a try for a long amount of time, like 6 months maybe, to really learn from it. And this volume training I'm going to do for about 6 months and see what I learn from it. And if it's something I want to continue, then I'll do it. But you can't just do volume training or any type of training for like a month and expect to know everything about it or how your body reacts to it. I mean, it takes I think on average 9 to 12 weeks to see actual aesthetic results when it comes to resistance training or anything like that. And so that's, close to 4 months. So we'll see how I react to this sort of training.
And how many months in are you now?
One.
Okay.
I kind of just started.
But you're
But
liking
yeah.
it so far. You're not like dreading the next workout. Like oh man, I got to do.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me is I have time to do it. And because I have the time, like my fiance lives in Tennessee and I live in Florida. So, I mean, we're getting married next year, which will be a good time. But until then, I have basically the 6 month window to do whatever the hell I want, and so I have time to do 2 to 4 hour workouts, and a lot of people don't have that time, and I get that. That's the reason I was saying like if you don't have the time, add a little bit of weight and cut the time in half.
Yeah. Are there lockdowns in Florida?
No, man,
Okay.
it's pretty shoulder to shoulder in the gym around here.
Oh, the gyms are even open. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The gyms are more packed than I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
I mean,
that.
at the rock climbing gym, you have to wear a mask and stuff, but at the normal gym, yeah, you don't have to wear a mask. You just go lift, and
Like, I didn't, because I saw the cases in America, and it's like 200,000 a day. I was like, "Oh, I did I didn't expect the gyms to be open." But alright,
Florida man.
yeah. Alright, so I think I have 2 last questions. The first one is, regarding accessory exercises. So do you do any, like, bicep curls or
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah?
yeah.
Okay.
I try to go full spectrum when it comes to working out. Anything I can benefit from. So I live on the aspect. This is how I used to train before the volume stuff. So I'll do like a burnout set of bicep curls, and then I'll get on the pull up bar. So the muscles that are in my back can overcompensate for the muscles that I just fatigued. And so I'm still working out my biceps, but I'm predominantly working out everything else. And then the next time when you're fully recovered, you have your biceps and you have everything you just overcompensated with. So you're like twice as strong. I don't want to say relative, but you're much stronger when you come back because your biceps are like, oh shit, I can work too. And it's just a dynamic way of looking at training.
I think it's called like no, that's not pre-exhaust. It's a different method. Okay, so you like doing the accessory for at least biceps, like you like doing it before your actual pull-ups.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you can call it. I think it's called a compound set, where a compound set is the same muscle groups. A superset is opposing muscle groups. So a superset would be do bicep curls and then tricep pull downs or something like that. But a compound set is same muscle groups. So, but I do same muscle groups with a dynamic stack. So that's what I call it. I call it dynamic stacking. So I'll do an isolated group or as much of an isolated workout as you can, like bicep curls, and then you do a compound exercise like pull ups, and you try to isolate one muscle group. So you can do lat pull downs and then do pull ups, and then you have predominantly your biceps and your forearms working because your lats are destroyed. And so it just makes your body work in different ways. So the next time you do it, you have that full like kinetic chain working, and you're able to move much smoother.
Yeah. And what about rows? Do you incorporate that into your pull-up training?
Sometimes I it just depends on the day. Like if the lat pull down machine's taken and the rows open, looks like I'm doing rows today.
Okay.
That's as complex as it gets.
All right. So you really just the kind of like you have it very open, like very free.
Yeah, like I said, it's just a rough sketch and
Okay.
whatever I can
And
work
your
in.
rows are usually done on like the cable. Like you don't do you ever do like the front lever rows or like the L rows or something?
Yeah, if the rowing machine's taken up, looks like I'm doing barbell rows.
Okay. Gotcha,
You know what
gotcha.
I'm saying? Like you just fit in where you can get in.
Yeah.
That's where I look at it. And if I'm going to the
Okay.
gym, I'm not gonna get mad that other people are using the equipment that I want to use. I just work around it.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's another benefit of calisthenics is you don't have to like all those machines, especially like the bench press machine. It's like always taken, right?
Yeah.
And you have to like there's sometimes like 2 or 3 people like in line waiting for the bench press. And but if you were like a calisthenics athlete, and you're just doing like weighted dips and weighted push-ups, then you never have to like worry about that kind of stuff. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, you can
yeah,
always work around
yeah,
for
and I
sure.
felt the same. Like I mean, it depends on the gym, but like the gyms here now they have like the CrossFit style or like the street workout style, like the big one.
Yeah, the rigs.
Yeah, the rigs, and there's obviously there's like 20 bars. Like you're never gonna have to like wait to use it. Like it's always gonna be a bar that you can just use.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, as someone who's like super impatient and I get really frustrated when I have to wait for other people, like I love like that's one of the real benefits of calisthenics.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree.
So okay, so the last question I have today is that so something you know now that you wish you could tell your younger self that just started training.
Uh, I would say that you are more credible now than you're credible enough right now to do whatever the hell you want. Like, doesn't mean don't learn or be closed minded on the way, but I've growing up, I would always try to seek approval from other people by indirectly asking questions that I already knew the answer to, that I just wanted to hear them say yes to. And so that was an issue I was running into where I would just not move forward because I was like, well, maybe it's just me who's thinking I should do this. And so I wish somebody had told me that, like, grabbed me by the shoulders and said, you're credible enough right now to at least make the first steps. So, get yourself in there, learn a little bit. Don't, jump too far, but be reasonable with your decision making. But you're credible enough to make at least the first steps, if not, become pretty decent at whatever it is you do. I guess you could say you're credible enough to fail. But yeah, don't seek. I would say that people shouldn't be seeking for approval as much as they are. Um, I think just go out there and learn a little bit for yourself. And have fun with it. I mean, especially being on Instagram and being on social media, like you start to fit into these trends of like what people like to see. And I've tried to stay away from that sort of stuff as much as I can. I mean, you're always going to put your highlight reel out to a point on Instagram is how you grow. And you want people to see what you're capable of and how you compare to other people and like motivation, that sort of stuff. But also, remember to have fun and remember the reason you did it. I didn't even know what Instagram was. Somebody came up to me and said, "Hey man, your rock climbing wall in your barracks room that you built is pretty freaking cool. You should post on Instagram about it." And I was like, I don't know what that is. And so I was already having a blast doing what I was doing. Instagram was a compliment to it. And I've kind of kept that mindset the whole time.
Nice. So this is a very broad. It's not just for fitness, right? This advice would be just for everything in life, from what I've
Yeah.
heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Just you're credible enough right now to do it. As long as you're having fun, enjoy it, then don't give a shit what anybody else thinks. We're always seeking for that weird approval, and if you can get away from that, then the faster you can start moving in your own direction, and then I think that's important.
So for everyone that listened today that wants to learn more about you or follow you, like where can they find you?
Just follow me on Instagram
Okay.
or look at my Instagram. You don't have to follow. Just
All right.
I'm starting to make YouTube videos now, like of tutorials and stuff like that. But that starts next week, so maybe by the time this podcast comes out, then uh, they'll be out. But it's just if you want to enjoy my training as much as I do, come hang out.
All right. So Instagram, YouTube, and what about TikTok? I feel like you would be very popular on TikTok.
I have a TikTok account
Oh,
and I
you
have
do?
2.2 million people on TikTok, but I barely post on it. I barely do anything. I don't know. I mean, I could do a better job of content creation on it. And I think I will. There's definitely something there, but I don't get I don't have fun posting on TikTok because I think a lot of the stuff on there is very superficial and kind of bullshit. But if you can be real and raw with the stuff, Instagram kind of at least filters out the BS. It does a better job of that and gets you down to the raw like strength of other people. So I think
I
that's
think YouTube is the best. I'm a big fan of
YouTube for sure, because YouTube takes time for the creator to do it. And so if they're taking their own time, they better not be wasting their own time doing it. And that's the reason I've held off doing it for so long, is because dude, people want to see me do 1,000 pull-ups. They would watch that video, but making that video takes so much effort and it takes away from the training. And so I have a very hard time compromising. Okay, I'll set up a camera and I'll do that, and I don't mind editing it, but it can't take away from the workout that I'm doing. It has to be a stationary thing, and I don't have a videographer right now, but I think that's down the road. But yeah, it can't take away from the workout. That's it. The workout's the most important. The mindset's the most important, and yeah, don't be taken away from your own thing just so other people can benefit from it.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, even for my work, I have to record a lot of my workouts, and yeah, I find it kind of annoying that I have to kind of think about the camera and make sure I'm like in the
Absolutely.
frame and everything. It's like
The only way I can do that is if I calculate the rest time in between, because I'm not sacrificing my workout for the benefit of content creation. That's just not it. I'll make a highlight reel. I'll post on Instagram. That's the reason Instagram has done well for me, because it's so easy to do. But YouTube, where people get actual value from the videos, instead of just like a skimmed surface, like it's very hard for me to make those because it's going to take away from the workout. So I'm trying to find a good contrast, and I think I have it now, which is the reason I'm going to start making videos. But the workout's the most important, man. Because there's a lot of people out there that are getting it who don't have any YouTube videos. You don't see Usain Bolt making YouTube videos and he's breaking world records and the fastest man alive. So
yeah,
maybe he is making YouTube videos. I just haven't seen him.
cool.
Heck
So
yeah.
thanks to Mike Eckert for being on today.
Thanks for having me, man.
So yeah, listeners, if you want to be here for the next interview, make sure to subscribe and like the video.